Can't believe it's already a quarter of the way done.
It's crazy.
I'm upset. Hopefully you're 4-0. If you're 0-4 in any leagues, hate break to you, it's panic time.
It's panic time.
But not a panic time tip. We got another tip. Dustin, give him a tip.
Got a tip for you. 4 weeks are in the books, so at this point, a lot of people start paying a lot more attention to fantasy points against. And it is a very fun new stat that's been around for a couple of years, but you gotta put just a little bit into it and not too much. I see it way too often where people be like, oh, well, this guy's playing the team that's least amount of points to a quarterback, and he's playing the one that's most. So I'm going to start this guy over this guy, even though I know this guy's better. It should help you make decisions, but it shouldn't make your decisions for you. And especially at the tight end position, maybe a team might give it the least amount of points to a tight end, but they haven't played a good tight end yet. So you have to look past the number a little bit too, and make sure that the ranking is justifiable.
And the only one of this fun new stat that's been around for a couple or more years is the running back position. And basically, I just compare it to if it's a good run defense. That's the one that I put the most stock into at this point right now.
It's
but
a tiebreaker.
There
it's
you go,
a good
Dustin
tiebreaker.
Barkley. All right. Got a question for you, Dustin. Comes from Rulus 316 or 316, however he wants me to say it. He wants to know Bishop Sankey, and I'm going to talk a little bit about him in a little bit, versus the Cleveland Browns, Steven Jackson at the Giants, or, shouldn't be on this list, Terrence West at Tennessee, and Bente's probably going to start if he's healthy. So which one, old or new?
You know you want to start Sankey. You know he's way more exciting than going with old man Steven Jackson and hoping that he falls into the end zone. Jackson might be just a little bit safer. But go with Sankey. He's more exciting. You're going to care way more about watching him than Jackson. And if Sankey does blow up, you're going to kick yourself way more than if Jackson just falls in the end zone. So there you go. All right, Brett.
Jeez.
Garvin
Better start him now.
1995. Wide receiver question for you. Golden Tate versus Buffalo. Wes Welker versus Arizona. Who you going with?
I'm going to cheat a little bit, but not really because I'm still going to answer. I'm going by your settings. In a standard league, I'm going Tate. In a PPR, I'm going Welker. I think Tate, 4 to 5 balls, but he's going to get more yards. Wes Welker, 6, 7, maybe even 8 balls, but not as many yards as Tate. Therefore, go with your settings. I think it's about a coin flip 50-50 who finds the end zone as well. Standard Tate, PPR Wes Welker. Before I ask the next question, just want to say, he's been telling you for weeks to pick up Sankey. Why didn't you? Shame on you. If you didn't,
Trade for him.
Trade for him. Probably your last chance to buy a little bit low if you can. We've been talking about him internally for a while. 7-8 weeks. Week 7 or 8, we thought he'd blow up. Might start this week. All right, John Chavo. Flex question. Andre Johnson at Dallas. Brian Quick at Philly. Bishop Sankey, home versus the Browns. Where you going, Dustin?
You know, I really want to say Sankey here, but it's a little too risky. I do like Sankey's upside, but you can't start him over solid 8 to 12 point plays with upside. You know, I want to say Andre Johnson here, but he scares me at this point. I'm going Brian Quick. He's been one of the most targeted receivers per game to this point, the most underrated receiver in fantasy to this point. They're probably going to be playing from behind. He's going to get targets. He's going to get catches. I think Quick's actually not the play, but also the safest play here.
Wow.
Even though people...
Cut to Andre Johnson, annoyed and mad at Dustin.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to beat Mike, so I'm going to start it as well with our bust, sleeper, deep sleepers. And my bust is going to be Michael Floyd. Talib is a solid cover corner for the Denver Broncos. And the Denver Bronco defense is underrated in my opinion. They made a lot of changes and they're a lot better. I just think they're going to blanket him. Coverage over the top. Larry Fitzgerald hasn't been good. I don't think he sees any double teams. So I could almost say if one Cardinal receiver blows up or does better, I actually think it might be Fitz. So proceed with caution with Floyd. Obviously, in a bye week situations, you're probably starting him as a 2 or maybe even a flex, which I understand. Just proceed with caution. My sleeper is going to be Denver. I picked him up in a few leagues. I have him ranked as a top 5 defense this week. Whether Palmer starts or not, I don't really care. Denver coming off a bye. Teams are always a little bit better on the defensive side. When they come off a bye, they're rested and healthy. And like I said, there's got DeMarcus Ware there. I mean, they can get a lot of sacks, a lot of pressure. They got good cover corners. I think that they're going to have a solid game this week. My deep sleeper is going to be Ruben Randall. He's a guy who's drafted in about 80-90% of leagues, got cut in a ton of leagues. I picked him up in a few where I must admit I cut him myself, but I got him back. And a few other people cut him in some of my deeper leagues. He had 10 targets last week, and in this new kind of circle West Coast offense that they're doing, he's getting a lot of targets on the slants and some deep balls as well. I like him as a deep sleeper play.
All right, my dud. I'm going with Travis Kelce.
Ooh,
At San
a lot of people aren't
Francisco.
going to be happy.
I know Kelsey had a big game last week. He's had some solid games so far this year. All I'm going to say with him is just be careful with him. You know, if you have him, you're probably starting him. But don't go starting him over like Julius Thomas or any of the guys that you shouldn't be starting him over. In my opinion, Travis Kelce is still a mid to low range tight end 1. And if you have him on your team, you probably drafted another tight end as well. So just make sure you're not starting him over someone you shouldn't start him over, is all I'm going to say. He's still a tight end 1 this week. My sleeper's Bishop Sankey. We already talked about him.
He likes him.
I do like him. I think they're going to give him 10 to 15 touches, and I think that's all he needs. You know, he might even get more. Who knows? I think conservatively 10 to 15 touches. Sean Green's not good. Cluster's not good. Sankey is their future at running back. And my deep sleeper's Blake Bortles, going up against Pittsburgh. You know, I really thought Pittsburgh was going to destroy Tampa Bay last week. And Tampa Bay looked pretty good. And my thing is, if Tampa Bay can put up points on Pittsburgh, and that game was in Pittsburgh as well, I think Blake Bortles at home is going to be decent, be serviceable. If you're desperate for quarterback, I think he's pretty safe this week.
All right, Michael Barkley's picks. His Michael's dud is Kirk Cousins. The reason Michael does not like him is because they're playing Seattle. It's pretty much enough said.
Gross.
Side note, that Kirk Cousins third quarter and the start of the fourth was maybe the worst quarter I've ever seen an NFL quarterback play.
Probably.
At least there's no quarterback controversy in Washington anymore. His sleeper is Andre Williams, and I actually like this pick as well myself very much. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons. We all saw what Minnesota did to them last week with 1 million people getting touchdowns, 1 million people, or 2 getting a bunch of touchdowns, a bunch of yards. It's going to happen again for the Giants. Jennings and Williams will both be solid plays, but do not bench Jennings because he didn't have a great week last week. He's going to be just fine this week, obviously. And then his sleeper is Reeves, Darren Reeves, of the Carolina Panthers. D'Angelo's hurt, Tolbert's hurt, Jonathan Stewart's hurt, and I think even Fuzzy Whitaker, whatever his name is,
he's questionable.
Is questionable
It's a
as well.
mess. It's a
So
mess.
there ain't anybody else to run the ball. And every year, there's 1 or 2 games where some random guy comes out of nowhere and has a really solid game. This might be the case. If you're in bye week issues and you need to pick somebody up, I'm actually, in one of my deeper leagues, I am starting him as my flex, just simply based on the volume play. So I like that call by Michael Barkley. Good job, Mike.
So that'll do it. Good luck week 5. Names over here, Dustin right here. Got any questions? Post them in the forums.
We got basketball stuff up too.
FanDuel Leagues, FST 2014. Use the promo code. That was terrible.
It looks better than it
Do
actually
you have a
was.
nerve issue like Carson Palmer? Arm a little weak with your throw?
This guy, he's in a mood today.
I am.
He's cranky. He's nervous about things.
I am a little cranky today.
He didn't win his leagues. Did you not win last week?
I won a couple. I beat you in one, remember? My bye week team.